All right. There we go. Looks like we're good now. At least I got a message.
We are live on YouTube.
Very good. And I will go ahead and call this meeting to order. We've got a quorum. I'm going to go ahead and call roll. I'm Joshua Stegner. I am present. Erica Alberti.
Present.
Thank you. Dory Burnett is not going to be able to join today. Brock Grigsby.
Present.
Thank you. Sarah Hayworth.
Here.
Thank you. Talia Henry.
Present.
Thank you. Andrea LaFleur.
Here.
Thank you. And I have not seen Dina Kisis come in, and I haven't heard from her either. So maybe she'll join at some point, but we're good to go and proceed. And for administration, Denise Burchett
Present.
and Truth Newbay
I'm here.
and Craig Wilson.
Present.
And I should also note Gary Saunders, our interim executive director.
Hey, I'm here.
Thank you. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to proceed to our next item, which is the swearing in of our two newest board members, Brock Grigsby and Talia Henry. So I have the unofficial GLCN oath of office ready to go. I kind of look for it year after year and have to rewrite it because I forget what it was from previous years. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to save it this year. But if you would please, I'll start with Talia. If you would please, let's see, raise your right hand. And I'll just ask you, do you solemnly swear to faithfully exercise the duties of a member of the Gorman Learning Charter Network Board of Directors in a way that represents all stakeholders without prejudice and in accordance with the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. And then I will move to Brock Grigsby. Do you solemnly swear, sorry, if you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to faithfully exercise the duties of a member of the Gorman Learning Charter Network Board of Directors in a way that represents all stakeholders without prejudice and in accordance with the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California?
I will.
Thank you both, and thank you for your service and being willing to join. Looking forward to working with you both. Had some time already with you, and looking forward to our times. The next item is our virtual meeting finding and approval. I'll go ahead and read the finding. The finding is that Gorman Learning Charter Network Board of Directors determines, in accordance with Government Code Section 54953E1B, that meeting in person would present imminent risks to the health or safety of attendees. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E3, the board has also reconsidered the circumstances of the state of emergency declared by the governor on March 4th, 2020, and finds the state of emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the directors to meet safely in person and/or that state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. That is why we are meeting virtually. If I could have, I would need a motion and then a second, and then we'll vote to approve holding our meeting today virtually.
I motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and vote by roll as we're meeting virtually. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Brock?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Talia?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
And it looks like Dina has joined. I'll go ahead and give you a second. Dina, if you're ready to vote on.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we are, we've got an approval. The next item will be an approval of the agenda. If I could have a motion, please.
I
I
motion
motion
to,
to approve.
go ahead. Go ahead, Sarah.
I motion to approve.
I second.
Perfect. Again, we'll vote by roll. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Dina.
Aye.
All right, the agenda is approved. The next item, very similar. We'll need an approval of the minutes from the June 23rd meeting.
I motion to approve.
I second.
All right, and we'll vote by roll. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
and Dina.
Aye.
Thank you. The minutes from the June 23rd meeting are approved. The next item is communication from the public. If you wouldn't mind, scroll the agenda back to the top, just in case anybody is watching and at this point has decided that they would like to join. There is a link right there. If you type quickly, you can get on that link, put your name in, your information, and we'll get you in for public comment. Nothing's come in yet, but I do like to just give a minute or so in case anybody has joined or has seen the live stream and would like to join or include public comment for themselves. All right, I've done a few refreshes. I'm not seeing anything. We'll go ahead and move on, assuming there is nothing from the public. Are there any comments from board members concerning items not on the agenda? All right. Then we will need, next is an approval of our consent agenda. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the consent agenda that's in the back of the board packet. If there's anything that needs to be pulled, we can do that, or anything for further discussion. But if not, we would need a motion and then a second to approve the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda or items for discussion? And could I please have a motion?
I motion to approve.
I second.
Thank you. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Dina. Is Dina still with us?
She got kicked out. Hold on just a
She
second.
got kicked out. Dina, we were just voting on the consent agenda. If you're able to.
I'm sorry. I got kicked out. I apologize.
No worries.
Yes, I vote aye on the consent agenda.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the report and communication from our executive director and then our chief business officer.
Hi, this is our first one. So we've been busy over the summer, we get ready for the new school year by hiring and, getting our staffing up and planning out resource center classes, and then a culmination of before everybody really gets back busy at work is our professional development days, because it's not just one day, but I put a little bit in my report about it. It was really one of the best, I think, that we've had. So for the last 2 to 3 years, we've had it at the AVRC in the gym, which is a beautiful location. But this year we decided to go and have it at a hotel in Valencia, which prior to having the AVRC gym, that's how we had our professional development times. And everybody really commented on how they loved being there. The rooms were very cool, and the food was really great, but I think the highlight was our speakers. So we just had some really amazing speakers that we brought in. It wasn't any of us, so all of us got to participate and enjoy the professional development time. And then I'll have Gary say a few things, but some of you haven't met Dr. Gary Saunders, and he's our new interim executive director. And so we've spent PDD, he started off at PDD and then this last couple of weeks. So getting to know each other and getting to know the school, and it's just been really enjoyable and pleasurable. So I welcome him aboard. And Gary, I would like to ask if you would share with the board what you've been doing.
All right, trying to avoid that first faux pas talking while mute is on. And glad to see everybody. And I'm really excited. I guess it's the third week, second week in the office. Although I've been like a traveling man this week, roaming around and seeing the different centers. So it's been really exciting. First of all, thank you so much to the board for your confidence in bringing me in. The interview committee was an incredible team. They asked great questions. I'm thankful for those questions. I've had a chance to get to know the leadership here. The leadership here is just amazing excellence that they're striving for and that they're achieving. Referring back to the PDD days I think I was redundant there, but the PDDs, I just noticed that at every level, people are vested in excellence. And, anytime, any organization I'm part of, the vision is very important. Our vision has to do with preparing our students for the 21st century skills necessary for higher education and career readiness. Everybody is very, very much into that. And I noticed at a lot of levels, it's very student focused. We're looking at how we promote students' leadership and reveal their talents. I mean, that's been a really common theme that I've seen at every location, is to find the talents that are within them, the gifts and talents, and bring them out, build leadership in those students. And the idea is that it looks like family first, organization first, and everybody goes above and beyond. I haven't seen any letdown in that. So it's really exciting to me. I kind of shared in the bullets there, kind of what I noticed and words that come to mind. That the group here is very proactive. Nobody seems to rest on their laurels. There's this idea that we're always moving forward. What's the next opportunity to serve our students? This week, when I said I was traveling, I was at the different orientations in Lancaster, Santa Clarita, and Redlands. And the teams that are there were just very proud and excited to show me what's going on at each center and how they're getting their kids excited. And the kids were excited. The parents were excited. The students were excited. The students were proud of what they've accomplished. The incoming families, I met a lot today, and I spent a lot of time asking them, like, how did you learn about Gorman. Many of them from word of mouth, hearing about or knowing other families who've experienced this incredible opportunity. And that's what's brought them in. And that just tells me that you do have a lot of families and parents out there who realize, I'll be honest, I'm one of those parents who realize that the neighborhood school may not meet all the needs of multiple children or the single child that you have in your family. Again, I've got 4 kids. Some people, I've run into people here with like 15 kids at one of the centers, down to a single child. And across the board, it has to do with this opportunity to take these 13, now 14 years with TK of education and make sure that you're just wringing out of that time period the best opportunities you can for your child. And that's what parents see in Gorman. It's very exciting. It's what actually drew me to put in for this opportunity, is just learning about Gorman and connecting it to myself as a parent, what I want for my own kids. So again, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thanks for the great introduction. And you'll see, like, this is one of my first projects here. Is like, I come from a place of shared leadership. So part of my engagement at these resource centers is just to talk to families, learn about who they are, learn about why they're here, and then also let them know that they could have a voice. So we're going to start working on this advisory council. I know they've had an advisory council in the past. So I want to understand what it's looked like in the past and see how we can also just utilize that to continue to look forward and invest ourselves in excellence.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thank you. Too.
Denise, was that all that you had?
Yes.
Okay. Truth, do you have anything right now?
No, not right now.
Okay. Thank you all. Then we'll move on to our information discussion action agenda. The first item is the review, discussion, approval of board officers. As you know, for our board to function properly, we have officer roles, treasurer, secretary, vice president, and president. Just in terms of areas of responsibility and overall description, our treasurer takes more of a lead when it comes to financial matters, works a little bit more closely with our fiscal department. Our secretary oversees some of the compliance related things, signs off on the minutes after each board meeting, make sure that those are in order. We actually have somebody else who keeps the minutes during the meeting, but our secretary approves those. The vice president, I think one of the primary roles is kind of supporting the president, but also being brought up and trained to become ideally the next president, our chair. And then of course the president chairs our meetings, works with administration to determine agendas for the meetings, kind of takes the point is the point person between the board and our administration. And so we do nominate and re-elect those officers every year, and usually at the first meeting of the year, which is this meeting. And so I'm going to actually start from the bottom of the list in the way it's listed. I don't think that's a problem from a agenda standpoint, because they're all the same agenda item. But Dory has been our treasurer. I spoke to her earlier this week, although she cannot be here tonight. She is willing to continue in that role of treasurer. She's definitely got a sharp financial mind, business background. She's been she's taken an active role in just working with Truth at budget time and over the years that she's done that. And I think she'd be a great treasurer, or for her to continue in the role of treasurer, unless anybody else has a different thought process on it, or sees it maybe differently. Be happy to solicit that input. All right. Well, if not, if that sounds okay to everybody, and again, I've already talked to her, knowing she wouldn't be here. She's happy to continue serving in that capacity. I believe it's okay for me to nominate somebody. Craig, can you? Is that appropriate?
Yes, that's appropriate.
Okay. Then I would like to nominate Dory Burnett to continue in the role of treasurer. Yeah, but I will need a motion, a second, and then we'll vote on that.
I'll second.
Oh, if I could get a motion first, sorry.
I move that Dory take the position of secretary, correct? Secretary, treasurer
Treasurer, yep,
of the Gorman Learning Charter Network for the 22-23 school year.
perfect. And if I could get a second,
I second.
thank you. Then I am Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
and Dina.
Aye.
Great. Then Dory, I assume she'll accept, but Dory will be nominated to the role of treasurer again for the 22-23 school year. Next officer would be the secretary. And Erica stepped into that role this last year. I believe maybe it was the beginning of last school year, or I can't remember, Erica. How's that going for you?
It was the beginning. It's not so time consuming. It's just that sometimes I know that my schedule kind of interrupts the meeting, and I do apologize, and I feel horrible for that. So if you guys are okay with that, I'll continue. But if not, I totally understand.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue, especially in terms of the fact that we do have a video record of the meetings that you can review. So I think that might be just an important step if you have an opportunity, if you've had to step out before you sign off on the minutes, that you've reviewed at least the video of it when that does happen. And that's totally understandable. There's no need to apologize. We know you would want to be here, but you have also other obligations. So I appreciate that. So anybody have any thoughts on that or concerns? All right. Well, then I'll go ahead and just nominate Erica to continue in our role of secretary. Could I get a motion to approve that, though?
I move that Erica continue as secretary of the Gorman Learning Charter Network for the 22-23 school year.
Thank you. And could I please have a second?
I second.
All right. And I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
and Dina.
Aye.
All right, then, Erica, thank you for being willing to continue in that role. Then the next role we have is vice president, which is currently vacant since Carlos resigned in the middle of the year. So I've had some conversations with Andrea about this role. She's actually taken a really kind of active role, even in being a support to me, and we've been at some events at resource centers together, some of the PDDs together. She's very engaged. I think just about every meeting she's been at, other than maybe being on vacation. And I just think, Andrea, I think you're a very dynamic woman with a lot to bring, and I think you'd be great in the vice president role. And then considering someday potentially taking on the president role. So I don't know, any other thoughts on that from anybody? Okay. And I'd like to nominate Andrea to take the role of vice president.
I second that.
So I'll have you make a first motion. I'm just kind of putting out the nomination of the suggestion.
I motion Andrea to take the vice president role.
Thank you.
I
I'll
second.
second.
All right, I think I heard Talia and Dina maybe. We'll go ahead and vote by roll. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica?
Aye.
Brock?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Talia?
Aye.
Andrea?
I feel weird voting for myself. Josh. Can I just, yeah, can I abstain?
Yeah, you'll be all
Okay,
right.
thank you.
You've got enough votes. It won't even be like a close election. It's fine. And Dina?
Aye.
All right. Andrea, even with your abstention, you are now the vice president. And thank you for that.
Yay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's great. I really appreciate the help you provided, and just, even we did a training a couple weeks ago for new board members. Andrea was there, and just a huge asset to our board as a whole, and then even to me supporting that. So appreciate you, and that brings us to the president role. And I think I'm just gonna kind of shut up at this point. You all can discuss, and my feelings will not be hurt if however this goes.
I think Josh does terrible. No, I'm just kidding. Josh is awesome. I think you've done an amazing job. I think you've done an incredible job, just from the last year that I've been here. So, I mean, I would nominate you. I would, if nobody else has anything else to say.
I say we just motion to approve.
Okay, so I motion to approve.
I second.
All right. Well,
Done
thanks
deal.
for those kind words. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and vote. I'm Josh, and I will also abstain on this. Erica?
Aye.
Brock?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Talia?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Dina?
Aye.
Very good. Well, thank you. I'm happy to continue serving in this role, and I like the idea of a kind of an orderly transition where I'll work a little more closely now with Andrea and move towards a time. Who knows at what point that will be, but maybe sometime during the year or the end, whatever that is. But to making that kind of a transition. So, all right. Then we'll move on to the next item. That will be the review, discussion, and approval of our board meeting calendar for the 22-23 school year. I think we've got that as a slide, I believe, or at least, yeah, the dates are there. At this point, I think we've tried to keep with, second Thursdays in general. But I know or are we trying to go third Thursday?
Yeah, we were trying to go third Thursday. Then there was just a couple of times where we needed it to be the second Thursday, and a couple times that we have to do it on a Tuesday. So based on the dates, a lot of it has to do more with fiscal reporting and when we need to get certain things approved.
Okay, perfect. So those are the dates. I didn't see any conflicts at this point. And obviously, everybody's schedules are still probably quite in flux for the next year. But if you make a note of those dates, if you have a question or concern about any of the dates, we could certainly talk about those now. I didn't see anything just in general that would be conflicting on those. And right now we've got them located as virtual. We've had discussions. I've had discussions with other board members. I do think there would be a lot of value to us moving back into a kind of maybe hybrid, but at least in general, most of the board being together. We can set up a couple of different locations for conferencing. The board does need to meet in Los Angeles County, which leaves us with 2 of our resource centers as an option for board meeting board meeting locations, the AVRC and the Santa Clarita Resource Center. But we can always set up wherever we're at. We can always set up the other resource centers as a remote call-in location, so that those who are from another area don't have to travel as far, and then they would essentially just join sort of the way they've joined right now. So I think that is the direction we need to go. I don't know yet if how quickly that will happen, but I think I'd like to see in the next few meetings that we move back to an in-person setup. And I think the dangers and the risks, I think, are quite down from what they were in the past. So any questions about that? All right. Then if I could have a motion, please, to approve this calendar, these dates. And it's there's entire possibilities that the dates change. This doesn't lock us in, but this is just what our goal is for the year.
Could I discuss something real quick?
Sure, if it's regarding the calendar, yeah.
Yes. So you mentioned that you've been thinking about going back to in-person, and we've already talked about that, but I'd like to voice my total support for that. I think there's so much value in us being together and seeing each other face to face, especially new board members like me and Talia. So,
yeah.
But the sooner you can figure that out, the better.
Okay.
But if you want to do every other one, if you want to just pick a date moving forward and saying that as of this date, we're going to go back to in-person. So,
yeah, I believe we would have a challenge. Maybe Craig can explain better. I think we'd have a challenge in intentionally alternating. I think the intent of the virtual meeting is due to COVID and due to the state of emergency. So I think we would need to, unless that was dynamic, which it has kind of been, but unless things change on that regard, we kind of need to go a direction and then stick with it. So is that correct? Kind of correct, Craig, as I'm describing?
I think you've stated it very well, and it relates back to the findings we do at the beginning of each meeting too. And it's dynamic in that if the situation changes, we can make adjustments. But I don't know that we could just automatically calendar every other.
Yeah, that was kind of my interpretation. Yeah. So
is it even possible at this time to schedule anything in person?
Legally, yes.
It is. Yeah. And so if we do that and we move to in-person, we'll need to remain in person unless the circumstances regarding the state of emergency and COVID change. In other words, we have the flexibility to go to be virtual because of the state of emergency, but we don't have the flexibility to choose based on our own convenience, which we're doing. It has to relate to that state of emergency regarding COVID. That makes sense?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
I just want to voice again my total support in going back to face-to-face in person.
I appreciate that, and I agree. All right, so we'll work on that as far as locations, but at this point, we'd like to approve the dates and the tentative locations. And so if there's nothing else discussion-wise, could I please have a motion?
I motion to approve.
I second.
Thank you both. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Dina.
Aye.
Thank you all. The board meeting calendar is approved. The next item, Denise will be presenting the review, discussion, and approval of our consolidated application.
Great. Yes, so the consolidated application, what that is, it's a report or an application, I guess you could call it that we send to the Department of Education. And through them is how they determine what our categorical funds will be. So for example, our categorical funds are Title I funding, our Title II funding, and so things like that. I don't personally work on it. It's Tamara Campbell, who I have to give all the credit to, and Kathy Bernhagen. They spend some hours working on the consolidated app every year. They team up and work together on it. So it's a pretty standard format that they go through. It's a template where they have to input numbers. And then once it's completed, then they let me know. And then I have to go in and review the report and then certify. Once it's certified by me, we bring it to the board for approval. And then, you know, once you approve it, we submit it to the state. And that's how they know how to do our categorical funds. So if you scroll down so they can see it. So these are the reports that that they had to, that we're submitting. The Title II expenditure for 1920, for 2021, and then for 21-22, because it does go back. And then these are the reports that that we'll be sending up as the protected prayer certification, the LCAP federal addendum certification, our application for funding, and substitute system for time accounting. And then if you want to scroll down, so this first one, you'll see the first one. This is for Gorman Learning Center. So we got one for each school. That's the certification of assurances. Protected prayer certification. The LCAP federal addendum certification. The application for funding. And the substitute system for time accounting. So what you're seeing here is what we're certifying. What you don't see are they go into the portal where that's where they do input all the numbers, how much we've spent in all the different areas. And you don't, that doesn't come out, it gets submitted directly to them. And then once you approve this, we send the assurances and everything signed for the backup. Is there any more under there, Kim? Or is that it? Oh, no, wait. Okay, so here's, here's some more. It was more of a questionnaire. They have to fill out the questionnaires. Oh, there's the dollar amounts. So this is actually, this is just, these numbers are actual expenditures imported in here.
And now we're in SBSC, Denise.
Oh, same thing with SBSC. They go through, Tamara and Kathy work together. Kathy's in our fiscal department. She, you know, provides the numbers of what we've spent. And once this is approved, then I'll print all this out and I have to have a wet signature on it, and we just have to keep it on file as far as the wet signature goes. The rest of this will get submitted. That's the Con App. Are there any questions?
I have a question. So this is backward-looking reporting. It's not forward-looking budgeting, correct?
Oh, yeah, it is definitely backward looking. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, this is prior year. Just, you know, basic questions they have to ask. They have to answer.
So in a sense, we're certifying that we did qualify, or that we've done what we needed to do to have received the funds we received.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And it looked to me, I just for my own edification, they're federal funds because this is about federal money, but it comes through the State Department of Education to us.
Yes. Trickles down.
Got it.
So there's two of them on here that you can, I asked that the board would approve the CONAP for Gorman Learning Center and Gorman Learning Center, San Bernardino, Santa Clarita.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll just do those together.
Mhm.
Since they're listed as one item, unless there are any questions.
Hey, Josh, I just have another quick
Yeah,
question.
go
You know,
ahead.
from you, since I haven't seen this before, is there any comments you'd like to make on this? Is this pretty much just standard boilerplate? You know, plug in the numbers and keep it on file?
I don't understand them at all, actually, so I'm not the person to ask. I trust the staff has generated this in conformance to what is required, but I don't have the expertise to know or to cross-reference this to anything, and I don't have any notes or questions about it, so no.
Well,
Yeah, there's
if I may, Josh,
Mhm.
yeah, the CONAP is something that is common brought to school districts and charter schools. And actually, I think like Denise mentioned at the beginning, it's a template with just information that needs to be filled out. And that information is basically derived from our system in terms of if they have a question of how much did you spend in this area. So the staff will run a report based on the object code or the resource code that basically narrows down or filters for us to get that information. And then we put those numbers. And then also like looking at what's on the screen for Title 1 and Title 2, at times they wanted to put how much did you use, what dollar amount did you use for maybe direct services or indirect services. And so that's when the staff and Tamara sit down, and Tamara, being the director of that program, she will then say, okay, this is what will qualify, this won't qualify, but the information is basically guided by the template. So it's a template that is updated every fiscal year by CDE, and then we populate it.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Truth.
Yeah, that helps clarify. I mean to be facetious. I don't understand the process necessarily, but I do trust the staff does, and they're reporting correctly on this. So, and unless I had seen something that was concerning or didn't seem to, to be accurate or correct, I wouldn't have any concerns or make notes for me personally on anything in this. Okay, so we just need a motion to approve the consolidated application for both GLC and GLC SBSC.
I move to approve the application for SBSC and GLC.
That's perfect.
I second.
Thank you. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Dina.
Aye.
Thank you. All the con app is approved for both schools.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Anise. The next item, Tisha is presenting on for approval is the revisions to the parent-student handbook. We had this at our last meeting. There were a few notes for adjustments and revisions, and it's been brought back. I saw it. I didn't saw it earlier in the week. I think it was sent out to all the board members. I didn't have any further notes, so hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at that. We do.
Yeah, so I kind of revised it a bit based on the feedback that you guys gave me. So, and then I sent it right after the meeting and didn't hear anything back. And then I sent it again last week. And I think Andrea made one small edit. So thank you, Andrea, for doing that. but it's pretty much the same. The same ideas are there. It's just the formatting is a little bit different. And I think I changed a few of the words based on some suggestions that you guys made. So again, just a quick review for the new board members. We are adding a code of conduct school-wide. So this is kind of taken from the RC guidelines, but we needed something for school-wide so that if a student is breaking any of these rules, it could affect participation in school-wide activities, not just resource center activities. So that's why we kind of needed this, and every school really should have one. So it's a good thing. Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, Tisha.
Hi, Brock.
Yeah, if you could just highlight maybe some of the changes for us, especially for us new board members. I did have a chance to glance over it, but I didn't have a chance to tear it apart. And quite honestly, the format with the real small font on the right side with the red box around is kind of difficult to read. I know that it's a difficult way. It's just all difficult. I think whoever did this, Kimberly, if that was you, excellent, trying to fit all that in there. But if you could just hit the highlights of what's been changed.
So let me see if I can even tell. I think I bolded some of the more, some of the main sections. Let's see, there's one area that I deleted offensive. Let's see. And foul, I think we used another word, rude, offensive instead of foul. Let's see.
Just to ask, though, are you asking for what differences between as it was presented in the last board meeting and now, or as this was in past years in what's being presented now?
Yeah, as it was in the past years.
Oh,
Okay.
there was none. There was no code of conduct in our handbook. So this is a new section.
So the difference is the main difference is adding the code of conduct to the handbook.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, and actually it's quite remarkable that we've existed this long without a code of conduct. You know,
Right?
It's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. It's a weird thing to be excited about, but I am.
So yeah, I know there was a discussion just about the term drugs last time, and you said foul language. I think we just thought there needed to be maybe just a little more or clarification on what that entails, what that equates to.
Mhm.
So it looks good. And then yeah, I see the formatting that kind of bullets out each of those main sections.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have questions?
I don't have a question, but I just want to let you know you did a really good job. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for your guys' suggestions too. That was good.
All right, then if there are no other questions, could I please have a motion?
A motion to approve. So
I second.
Thank you both. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica,
Aye.
Brock,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Talia,
Aye.
Andrea,
aye.
and Dina.
Aye.
All right, then the school handbook, the parent-student handbook is approved. The next item is a review, discussion, and approval of policy 5000.1 independent study. And Olivia Duran is presenting.
Hello, board. So this was, of course, with the new trailer bill, every year they add something different. So this was just some of the languages that were added from the trailer bill 181 that the governor approved for this year. And it basically changes just when the tiered re-engagement happens. And it's section G in our policy there. So you can read, basically, instead of it being 60% of the time, they've lowered it a little bit and they've said 10% of the required minimum instructional time over 4 continuous weeks. So they sort of made it a little bit less ambiguous. And then there was another section that had been added. All the red, I sent it to Craig and it came back all red. I was like, oh, okay. So the stuff that we added to the red things, I believe, is from last year when we updated the independent study policy. So the one that I had sent to Craig didn't have all those updates in it. So this is the true one that needs to be approved for this time with updates from both trailer bills last year and this year's. Kim, if you can scroll down to I. At the bottom of I, there was added 2 other things from this trailer bill about if a student has not been enrolled or is only enrolled for 15 days further. Yeah, a little bit more. They have 10 days to sign the master agreement. And then the last bullet point is that was added was that before they sign a master agreement, a parent should have available, or if they request a phone conference or a video conference with the person before they sign the contract to enroll. So, any questions or comments?
Of course, I have a question.
Yes, Brock.
I think just to kind of summarize this, this is going to allow, this is going to make it easier for whom to do what?
For our students to not be triggered in last year's trailer bill, because due to regular brick and mortar districts not doing well with virtual learning and independent study, there was all kinds of new things put into place in the trailer bill last year that came out. Part of that was synchronous instruction, live interaction, all of those pieces that we now have in our program. If they missed a certain amount of school, then they were considered not engaged, which would then trigger a tiered re-engagement that the school goes through. The steps are in this policy. But it was very ambiguous. They said 60% of the time, and all the independent study schools were trying to figure out what is 60% of independent study, like, is it per day? Is it synchronous instruction? Is it like, what is it? So this basically cleared it up a little bit for the students as to how much time they can miss. They can only, they give an exact time before the tiered re-engagement's triggered. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So in other words, it's easier for everyone to understand what the law
Correct.
really means.
Correct.
Okay.
They just cleaned the language up a little bit and added an easier number to work with.
Okay. Does this make the RDs and the PLTs happy?
We still have synchronous instruction and we still have live interaction. So if they were to get rid of those, but that helps the families, it helps with engagement, it helps the families and the students actually connect with someone daily or weekly. So that was the big change last year, was adding the synchronous and the live interaction.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think I know no, go ahead, Andrea.
Sorry, that live interaction is separate from what the students would get at the resource center, though, correct? That live interaction is what the PLT or IST, is that what they were called before? Yeah. That's what they have to provide, correct?
Right. And last year we called it office hours. This year we're
Yes.
working, actually the RDs, we're working on a calendar where we actually have, there was some really neat proposals that our teachers gave in, where a teacher is going to do a month's worth of like structured interaction for the students. One was about how to make like organic gardening and things. And one was like Lego brick building competitions, so that the kids can jump onto a Zoom link and with other kids of their grade level and do things. So yes, the live interaction last year was office hours. And this year we're trying to make it a little bit more structured, so the teachers aren't having to provide instruction or time for K through 12 students, but they can narrow it down to a certain grade span.
And I was under the impression last year, and I guess now going into this year, that this is us adapting to a law, California state law. Is that's correct? Okay.
Correct. A lot, and it all came about because when COVID happened and the districts went virtual, kids weren't showing up. So they had no idea where they were. They hadn't. So then it's like, well, check the phone number of the parent and check this. And then we have to follow it because we're independent study. So it's independent study law that we now have to follow because of the lack of a great virtual schooling from the districts.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
And I think I know the answer to this, but all of our students are considered to be on independent study because we're non-site based
Correct.
versus in the neighborhood school, some might be, some might be.
Right.
Or even in a charter that has that's site-based, they wouldn't be independent study, right?
Right, because they're seeing the students every day. So it's not, but it's the independent study, which a lot of times those virtual schools like K-12, where all the learning is done online, independent study. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to comment that I think it's great that you guys are trying to be dynamic with something that got kind of just put on us from the law, because I think it's, you know, we had the office hours, and I really like that you're doing something new this year. So I don't know whose idea that was, but tell them it was an awesome idea.
Yeah, it was to help the help the teachers, but also for the parents and the students to make it valuable for them. Because if not, what's an office hour? I don't have questions, but I have to get on, you know, so.
Yeah, I think that helps everyone, the teachers too, not to just sit there and wait.
Well, and try to do something for, you know, a grade span from TK to 12. How do you, you know, do something that's interesting to them? So. And if there's no other questions or comments, I'd ask the board to approve the revisions and the updates to the independent study policy.
A motion to approve these revisions and updates to the policy.
I second.
Thank you both. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica? I didn't hear. Erica, are you still with us? I see.
Yes, I said aye.
Oh, perfect. Thanks.
Yes,
Ralph?
sorry.
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Talia?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Dina?
Aye.
All right, then the independent study policy is approved. The next item is the review, discussion, and approval of out-of-state travel for the SpiceWorks conference for the IT department. And Chris Campbell's presenting.
Hey guys. Yeah, this is a conference that we used to go to quite a bit. The last time we went was 2018. Reason we're bringing it to the board is due to board policy, any out-of-state travel has to be approved by the board. This is actually a really good conference for IT. It's really a good bang for buck, as I put it in the memo, for what we get out of the conference. There are a number of items that that are part of our infrastructure that were first brought to our attention at this particular conference, which is our printer logic, Lenovo as a tier 1 brand that we use, CDWG, which is our major vendor, they're there, our phone system, that's where we first met them. So this is a good opportunity for us to meet with these vendors. There's over 40 sponsors at this conference, and it's a good opportunity for us to get face-to-face with them. This conference, and then there's another one called SITE, probably are the best two conferences for us to go to.
Chris, you might want to let the board know where the conference is going to be at.
Oh, it's not in the middle. It's in Texas. So it's in Austin, Texas.
Hey, Chris, this is Brock. I hope that you guys have a great time. I know that when I led conferences for my math teams to go, probably the number one reason why I wanted to take other people was just to build team spirit. So
that's always a great reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So are there some things you want to share with us as far as what you're trying to build with your team?
Well, with Coleman, he's out at AVRC by himself. It's good for us to get away, collaborate, talk about our issues at the different sites. And it's generally, it's teamwork, friends, as well as colleagues. And that's what we get out of it, an opportunity. I don't have much hair, but an opportunity to let our hair down. So yeah, it's work. It's work while we're having fun.
All right. Well, I hope you have a successful, exciting trip. How many days is it for?
It's 3 days if we do the full conference. First day is generally it's a workshop. It's not really with the vendors, but it's like sort of like a teaching where they teach or review a IT skill, and this year it's PowerShell. I don't know how much you know about scripting or anything like that, but that's the first part of the conference.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Rick, anybody else have any questions for Chris about this conference or travel, proving the travel?
Where's the funding coming from? I'm trying to read the. I
Good
don't see it
question.
on the.
Title II funding.
Are you guys going to come back and tell us how it went and what you got out of it?
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
You have
I
to
like
tell us.
for my guys to do a write-up and let me know what they got out of the conference as well. So I'll share that with you as well.
Sounds good. All right. If there are no questions about that, could I please have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
I second.
Thank you. I'm Josh. I vote aye. Erica?
Aye.
Brock?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Talia?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Dina?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Then the out-of-state travel is approved. We are going to now adjourn to closed session. I've got 5:05 p.m. And so you'll be invited. Let's see. So Denise, Craig, Gary, all the board members, Dennis, and Truth. Should be everybody coming in. All right, so who has not made it back yet? Erica. There she is. Okay, we're going to reconvene to open session. I've got 6:41 p.m. There's nothing to report out from closed session. So we'll move to our last item of the night, or for our action agenda, and that will be review, discussion, and approval of the Antelope Valley Resource Center lease. The board is not quite ready to take any action or approving a lease. And so this item, we're not ready to move ahead yet with, so I'll just give a second and assume there's no motion to approve. The item will die for lack of motion. All right, that being the case, we'll continue working on the lease. And we'll move on to our last item, which are our last few items, the confirming items for our next meeting.
I've been asked by our Director of Special Education if he can come and present to the board and share with the board some of the things that are going on in his department, specifically some stories and victories that he would like to share with you. Sound good?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Love to hear from him.
We'll also most probably have the unaudited actuals, Mr. President.
Okay.
ASB fundraiser for approval.
All right. All right. I'm sure more will come up. Does anybody have that date offhand? I saw it earlier tonight, but
September 13th.
number 13. So this is a Tuesday night, this coming meeting.
Yes.
All right, and we'll confirm date and time, or time anyway, and forum, but assume at this point 4 p.m. virtual. Okay, are there anything else I'm missing?
Oh, are we gonna, well, I don't know. Are we gonna have another data meeting about for the beginning of the year in the next couple meetings, Denise?
Well, when all the testing data comes in, we will have a presentation on the state testing data. Yes.
Is that I ready?
No,
Or after
says
that?
the CAS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got
So
you.
the students are going to start taking their first iReady benchmarks when they come back to school. So we won't really have any good data till, probably even the second time they take it. So we have something to compare.
So like February?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to adjournment. Enjoy the rest of your evening and weekend coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And welcome back, everybody.
Yay!
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.